Hey everybody, it is your girl Coach Cheryl and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you stopped by on today. If this is your first time here, I just want to welcome you and say hello. Welcome to the Church Girl community. So glad to have you here. I want you to feel free to make yourself at home. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, tea, or whatever makes you comfortable because we're about to get into it. We are currently in a season called Dating During COVID. Yeah, I know, dating during COVID. So just sit back and relax and we'll be right back in a few. So are y'all ready to get at it? Segment 2, episode 2 of Dating During COVID. Again, I have my friends with me, Pastor Jonathan McKnight from Sanctuary of Praise in Orlando, and my sister, Minister Valerie Thomas. But if you're new, you might be wondering, well, who is she? My name is Cheryl Thomas. I'm a minister, best-selling author, and certified Christian life coach. Here, what do we do on this channel? What we do is we empower women of faith to get a life. That means to love themselves, invest in themselves, feel comfortable and confident in their skin, and to empower you to express the unique individual that God has called you to be. So this week we're talking on dating during COVID, and so we're going to deal with 2 more segments in our series, or 2 questions in our series. So get ready, relax, jump in. We're going to go at it. And so with that being said, do you think that we'll have to go back to the old time where y'all remember when, family and friends would quote unquote set you up, or, oh, I think you'd be good with so and so, oh, sister so and so, she's a nice girl. Will we have to depend on word of mouth for recommendations for women to date or for men to date? What do y'all think about that, Pastor?
I think first of all, you got to make sure whoever's recommending, they understand you. They
Right,
got to know you.
right.
They have to know you because some people recommend that they don't even know you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so how can you recommend that someone would be good for me and you don't even really know anything about what I prefer? You just know me from what you see, and we also know that there are different layers to every person.
Right.
Every person has different layers. So my question is, whoever's recommending, are they recommending what they like? Are they concerned about what you need? And the
Right.
difference is a lot of times they might be honest and great in their intent of saying this person would be good for you, but actually they don't even know. It's hard for you to recommend somebody for somebody if you haven't asked the person what makes them, what are their top 5
Mm-hmm.
of dating. So that's my take on it. You gotta be careful because I've seen some people recommend some people and they got mad at them and still not speaking to them to this day.
Whoa.
I
That's
know
the
you ain't
truth.
recommend
Wow.
him.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
that's the truth. I mean, I think in this day and time, you got to even be careful how you recommend because do you really know who you're recommending?
True.
Do
Mm-hmm.
you really know who you're recommending, or do you know what that recommendation has shown you? Do
Right.
you know the recommendation?
Right.
So that's my take on it.
That's true. Pastor, come a little bit to the side. We only see half of
Um,
your
that
face, and I know the women of God is upset.
you know what? You need to stop right now. Y'all pray for the host.
Okay,
You see
I'm
me now,
sorry.
Sherry?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
that's so much better. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Val, answer that question. Are we going back to the old time recommendations?
Um, I'm not so sure that we're going back to the old time recommendations. Um, First of all, from our circle, there are not too many people, like Pastor said, that would be willing to recommend. Um, I'm gonna. I think that if you know me, that I would be okay with you recommending. But you do have to know me in order to make that recommendation as well as know the other person.
Right.
Um, I am not the type of woman. Now, if a man approaches, if he's sure about himself, and he approaches me, then that works for me completely, 100% works for me. I have never been the type of person to approach men, and I tried that one time in my life, one time.
Oh,
And what happened?
yeah, what
It
happened?
didn't work out too well in my favor.
Okay.
And um, after that one time, I said, I'll never do that again. I will never, ever, ever do that again. But I did approach, and it wasn't in a way, I don't think I was being too forward, but I'm not good with words, especially if I really like somebody. I stumble all over myself. And so that's probably why it didn't work. But I
Hey,
learned a lesson. I learned a lesson. Don't do it again. But now, if he approaches me, then that's fine. Recommendations, you have to know me. And most people that know me, um, I've always asked that question to my uncles. Y'all don't have no friends? What y'all, I've asked them that question before. And it may be for the very reason that Pastor McKnight said, that they don't want to, because they don't want me to be mad with them years down the road. So, but I have asked that question.
okay. All right. And I love the answers. And for me, I would prefer no recommendations.
Yeah, that
Well,
probably is right for you.
and here's the thing. I have had some recommendations, and I probably was like the person that Pastor McKnight said. I'm thinking, you recommended who? You don't think much of me, do you? No. And but that was probably because that person didn't know me. If they
Right.
knew
Yes.
me a little better, they would know that that was not even a recommendation that I would even consider. That I would even come close to considering. And so I love what you said, Pastor, about you really have to know not just the person that you are recommending. Like if Pastor McKnight was recommending somebody to me, he'd have to know that person, but he also has to know me and what I am
Yes.
looking for in a mate. And so if you don't know both people, their value systems, things they like, things that they're looking for, then the recommendation can be like, you just try me. So for me, because I haven't had really good experiences with recommendations. So, but let me ask you this: do you recommend other people? Do you recommend, like Pastor, if there was a young man that's looking for a wife, would you recommend somebody to him?
If if I knew the young man and I had time to know the spirit of the young lady, I
Okay.
think recommendations. A lot of recommendations are external. I think that we we choose based upon what might be comfortable to us.
Right.
Hmm.
But I have to know the spirit of whoever, both ways. It's just like, just say for you or Val, I will have to know the guy's spirit before I recommend him.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we say, well, he got a good job, but that don't mean he has necessarily have a good heart or a good spirit.
Ooh.
Right.
So the
Right,
biggest
right.
thing is for my recommendation, I think the biggest problem that most people make, they make external recommendations.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
They kind of do it's almost
Agreed.
like, it's almost the dangerous part when somebody applies for a job and they do it by resume only. You never know what you're getting. They might have a
Right.
great resume, but a
Yes.
horrible spirit.
Right.
So when I do a
Right.
recommendation, I'm really looking at the inside of that person.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Hmm.
won't be mad with me, or so you won't be upset with me, because I'm really saying that if I care about you, I want to make a great recommendation. So you're looking at me as a God sent for you,
Right.
that God really spoke to you. I don't want a recommendation that later on you like, Pastor, you need to go fast a little bit more, because your anointing, was not accurate.
It was
You
off
missed
I
it.
will
message.
You
only,
missed it,
I will
Pastor.
only, I will only recommend if I think that man is going to be good for Sherry's spirit, or it's going to be good for Val's spirit. and that's something that will not bring damage.
Right.
Uh, that's the recommendation, because you can feel horrible if you if that happens. So I think I if I do a recommendation, I'm gonna first do the recommendation on the spirit, because I'm not worried about y'all telling me about the natural. Because I know if he doesn't pass the look test, you gonna tell me that without even wanting to see his spirit. So my thing is, I would say I recommend this person. It seems like his spirit, he loves God. You know, he's respectful.
Right.
He carries himself in a certain. I'm going to check that spirit first, even with male or female. I'm going to see what kind of spirit they have, because the spirit is really of recommendation of the heart is the most important thing to me. That's the most important to me.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Val, do you recommend?
Um, I have never recommended anybody. Um, if if I know and feel in my heart that they would be a good fit, I don't have any um what you want to say apprehensions about doing it. But I've never recommended anybody.
Okay. Okay. I've never done it either. Just for the fact that people are so complex. And so
Hmm.
while, like, I've never recommended one of my good girlfriends to a guy that I know, a relative that I know, because I know people are so complex. And while I may really, really, really love my girlfriend, I may really, think she is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know how she would connect, or with somebody I know. And so I was like, Lord, if it's meant to be, then if they're in my presence and the other person's in my presence, then they y'all see each other. Make it happen. I'm, because I never wanted to insert myself in that situation just in case it went south, it went bad. I
Hmm.
didn't want to be a part of, bringing two people together and then feel responsible for things
Right.
not working out. So now, if I might let you be in my circle where that person is, and if they have
Hmm.
an interest, that person is going to say something to you. Then that way, I am totally out of it. He saw you cross the room and thought you was like all that, and decided to approach you. Then that leaves me out of it, just in case it doesn't work like you wanted it to, daughter. Or
So
even,
what you
or man. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
so what you so what you do? Okay, my role is a little differently too, because I have a lot of people come to me and say, Pastor, what do you think about this person?
Mm-hmm.
Not a recommendation,
Right.
but an affirmation.
Right.
So problem that I run into sometimes is I'm just going to talk from experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few times young ladies or young men have come to me and they said, hey, Pastor, I'm thinking about such and such. And right off the bat, I said, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a personal opinion. It was a spiritual, God-led opinion. I have had at least 5 to 6 cases
Mm-hmm.
to where people came to me and asked me, what do I think? And I said, you're grown. I tell grown people this: you're grown. You
Mm-hmm.
make your choices, but you don't choose your consequences.
Right.
Every one of those situations that they went ahead and got married, they ended up getting a divorce, and all of them came back to me and apologized,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't responding based upon the preference, because I wasn't, I was based upon what I saw from the spirit of the matter. That's why sometimes you need another eye that can see spiritually, that cares about you
Yes.
more than they cared about you more than they care about you liking them and their answer.
Right. Right. That's so
Because
true.
everybody wants, a lot of times we make choices and we want everybody to accept our choices because we want everybody to agree. But I can tell you 6 cases. I'm telling you right now, And I had some situations come back and apologize and say, Pastor, I didn't see. I said, because you were looking. Sometimes people look when they're hungry.
Wow.
And when you're
Ooh,
hungry,
don't get hungry.
you know, no, you look when you're hungry. You know, when you're
Eat
hungry,
anything.
when you're hungry, you'll eat anything. When you're hungry,
Right.
when you're hungry, the barbecue don't even have to be cooked all the way. You just put some sauce on it. So you know, when you're
Almost
hungry,
done.
you gotta have somebody who has no interest but for your happiness sometimes.
Right.
And that person can't be good. Just gonna tell you the truth. And ain't gonna say they're gonna respect your decision anyway. But at the end of the day, especially when somebody has a spiritual eye
Mhm.
for real,
Yes.
you need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah. And to me, you shouldn't ask if you don't want an honest answer.
Right.
And
Right.
so when I'm talking to women and men, I always tell them ask before your heart is involved, because when your heart becomes involved, then a lot of times you're not going to heed the advice that somebody gives you.
Right.
But if you ask before you are fully invested and your heart is fully involved, then you can take an answer like if Pastor said he crazy, oh he crazy for real, bye, and you can leave and you can feel okay walking away, and you don't have all of the heartache that comes behind it. You can make a sound decision based on what your leader, based on what somebody who's looking out for the best interest of you. And it doesn't have to be a pastor, it could be a family member, it
Right.
could be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell women, if you are thinking about a guy, you always need to vet him to another guy. Don't ask your girlfriends about who he is. He got to spend some time with the boys, because men know men and women know women. Just like if you were a man, if you were looking at a serious relationship, take him around your girl cousins, take him around your sisters, because they'll tell you who she is for real. Not who she's pretending to be to you, but who she is for real, because women know women and men know men. So you need to, what does the Bible say? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So
Right.
a hefty decision as marriage requires counselors, people that are going to be able to see stuff that you can't see, that maybe you don't want to see because you was hungry and you chose based off of your appetite and not on what you need in the years ahead. Well, I love that. I love that. And I saw a question somebody put in the comments, and I'm going to get that a little bit later. But and you all kind of said this in one of the first questions, but it says, so should we forget about dating and just use this season to work on ourselves, build our businesses, and grow friendships? Is that what we should use this season for?
Val, you going or you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Yes,
Um,
go ahead.
I think it is a good idea to use the season to grow yourself spiritually, whatever it is in life that you want to achieve, whether it's furthering your education, building a business, whatever it is that you have a desire to accomplish and achieve. I think this is the season for that. Now, again, my caveat is if you are already talking to somebody before Corona rolled in, then both of you need to be working on yourselves, as well as maybe doing um, Skype, FaceTime, because I mean, right now they've opened it up and you can kind of see each other a little bit in person, but it mainly you need to be working on yourself. That's what I think you need to be doing in this season. Again, if you've already been in a relationship, then that's a whole different ball game. But for somebody that is not in a relationship, that is not dating someone, now is probably not a good time to try to meet somebody, because basically the only way that you can do that is online. And again, I can be whoever I want to be online, and that is probably going to be to your detriment.
Yes, 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 Pastor.
I think I'm gonna tag off what Val said. I think one of the things that's important for me, and I see this a lot, you can grow yourself, but do you know yourself? And what I mean by that is, I believe now is a perfect time to better me. I this pandemic has been a chance for my own innovativeness, creativity. Matter of fact, I've watched less television. I probably watched because of what happened with this situation with the country network. I watched that video. But for me, I found out, can I accomplish things and don't need the world's view?
Mm-hmm.
I found this time, because I'm not haven't been traveling in ministry, traveling and doing business and different things. What I found out about me is can I function with a day of just my mind working?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when you get to know you, you can get a piece about yourself that it doesn't take all what you thought it took to
Right.
make you tick.
Mm-hmm.
Because the social distancing has been torment for some people because they tried to know themselves through other people. And now we have the responsibility. We're not sure. We got to know ourselves by ourselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And if I can learn what Jonathan really needs, likes, wants, believes,
Right.
and get that, then I can express that. The reason why a lot of relationships change, because people don't find out who and know who they are until they get into a relationship.
Wow.
And now you got two people trying to adjust. This is the perfect time
Mm-hmm.
to get you back,
Yes. Yes.
to get yourself back,
Mm-hmm.
and your own path, your own dreams, your own goals, and see if it fits with who you're trying today. What is your purpose in God?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in church don't mean just because we both go to church, that don't mean our purpose is the
Right.
same.
Right.
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 So I think the thing for me that I've learned most from this pandemic is my mind has opened up to getting to know more of me, the things I need to work on, the
Right.
things I like about. I don't like anybody who likes everything about themselves,
Mm-mm.
because it's not true.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
There's some people. See, online gonna show you your best face.
Right.
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 You know, get to know somebody, and like Val said, all the questions. I never could. If I didn't know it was that many questions on dating online, I never would have got through 10 questions. It's too much. You know, it's too much. I'm not gonna ask no 150 questions and probably have people lying on the question. So my thing is this. My thing is this. I'm talking personal now as a man.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see life has changed since March the 15th.
Yes.
What I think is important,
Mm-hmm.
valuable to me, that used to be important, those things have changed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This has made me get to know Jonathan, not Pastor McKnight,
Right. Right.
but Jonathan.
Yes.
And sometimes who we try to project people to be,
Mm-hmm.
even ourselves.
Yes. So true.
We are learning. We sometimes know ourselves by what people perceive us to be.
Right. Right.
And that's dangerous,
Yes.
because that's how you end up not being happy.
Mm-hmm.
You end up not being happy because people tell you what should make you happy.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And it don't.
See, used to be a time I thought cars, houses, property, jewelry, and all designer made me happy. I done been through that. I done had all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out some very truths about myself.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that, but
Right.
that don't necessarily make you happy.
Right. Right.
So I got to know me.
Right.
Now, I know you're thinking they are hilarious, so we do have fun. Yes, Christians do have fun. Are you enjoying this series? I know it was empowering for the people that watched it, for the people that actually got to interact with us when we did this live on Facebook on my page, Cheryl Thomas Speaks. So if you haven't done so already, remember to hit that like button. Also, click that bell so that you will get notified when we drop the next segment in this series, and subscribe. We are going to have a blast here. Invite all your good girlfriends to come and join us.